Hello.
Hello and welcome to Sikkim podcast. I'm Chiring Eden.
And I'm Pema Wangchuk.
And today we are trying out a new setup. We had some mic issues last time, audio issues. We're trying to solve that and hopefully it will work this time.
Yes, I mean, just to cut in, and you'll again accuse me of talking over you all the time. But since you're used to it, I also realized I didn't see any comments saying that what's wrong with the audio.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know whether people are even listening to us or not. Anyways, on
you
that
can just
note,
put it on play and just leave it and not listen to it also.
just
As
so
long
that
as
we keep
get
getting the views and the likes and the subscribes. Yes.
And today, since we always try to start with something positive, we don't really have anything positive, but taking off from last time's Sisnuko Phul and bamboo shoot talk, this time someone was asking me about Nakima. If you know what is Nakima, right?
Yeah.
It's another edible flower. Yeah, it's another bloom that we eat in the hills. So somebody was asking me what is the English name for it, and I had no idea. Mm-hmm. Then on Facebook, this post just happened to come where it told us what it is called in English, and it's a scientific name. It's not the regular.
It's not English.
So we still don't know what is the normal or regular name.
Or maybe if the English speakers don't eat it, it doesn't have an English name.
Yeah, could be. That could be the reason. You are right.
Yeah.
So it is called Typistra nutans.
Okay. Nakima works for me.
Nutans. And so it's this for those who do not know what it is from outside Sikkim. It's like a flower. It's like a bloom, which is slightly sweet, bitter, and it's usually cooked with either beef or pork. And the pork combination I really love. And and it's supposed to be medicinal.
We should stay with the beef.
But the funny thing is,
it's
supposed to be medicinal. It's supposed to bring down your blood pressure and help with, I think, people with diabetes. I don't know, but blood pressure I know that it's supposed to bring it down. But then you combine it with something like pork, and I don't know how healthy that is. But yeah,
what makes you think pork is not healthy?
You think pork is healthy?
Protein, is it? Meat.
It's full of fat. It's not the healthiest. It's the tastiest, but it's not the healthiest.
Yeah. But in keeping with the whole mood of resistance, we should stick with beef.
I know.
For this episode. Anyways, so Nakima is good. Otherwise also, tomorrow's, the day this airs is Gandhi Jayanti. So, happy Gandhi Jayanti. And after that is a series of Reds with Dasai coming up. And so, it's festive season now. A lot of holidays.
It's also the Nakima season. Oh, another reason why I was mentioning. And it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So,
do people grow it in fields, or do you kind of get it from the forest?
I think it's more of a forest food, like a ningro.
Which you could grow at home, of course. Yeah, I get that. But it's not something you farm.
I forgot to tell you this interesting tidbit to give you an example of how expensive it is and how coveted it is. That my uncle, grows it in his field. He has some, not like a lot. Yes. He has some, bushes of Nakima. And a few days back, he found out that some boys had stolen some of his Nakima at night. They had come and then stolen. Someone saw them leaving. So, but it's like, I think sometimes I know of it like 400 per kg. Sometimes it costs more than that. Maybe double also.
No, but you don't buy it in the kilo, do you?
I mean, if you have a big family, I guess you buy it in kilos also. But it's very expensive, Yeah. Anyway.
You don't have a forest elf protecting your crops.
Because?
No. Please carry on before we get cancelled. Because I know where you are going with that. Yes. So, starting off with, it's also, we could think of it as a good news, is the traffic survey results. Recently, last episode, we discussed it.
The traffic police, Gangtok Traffic Police had conducted a survey of amongst the citizens about what they think could solve the Gangtok traffic problem. And last week, the traffic police, the SP
Gangtok, yeah.
Mr. Loden Lepcha, I think, he held a press conference where he informed about the results of the survey, what they found, and what they plan to do about it. So so we'll go over what he announced. What he said was that most of the people, like 69% of the people, said that it is high vehicle density that is behind the traffic jams, which is,
just
I think everybody knew that.
But in there,
Yeah.
that is like saying that the plane crashed because it was flying too close to the ground. It's obvious, right? So what else would cause traffic jams? But yeah, without being too facetious, it is also the density. I think it has to be explained better, as in you have all the vehicles being crowded into the national highway, this spine that runs from Ranipul up to Tashi viewpoint actually, right? This spine that runs through all of Gangtok. All the vehicles are crowded in there because the condition of the other roads is not the best.
Feeder roads.
The feeder roads, yeah.
That is your answer, I guess, because that comes lower in the
But yeah, I mean, like I think I remember when we were discussing this survey last time, we were both hoping that I hope they don't come up with something as routine as there are too many vehicles or that Gangtok needs more roads.
Yes, but at the same time, what else, right? That is the reason. I mean, I would have been surprised if some other stupid reason had come.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, anyways. But then, so 43%, but 43%, the next highest percentage group of people said that it is illegal parking that causes jams in Gangtok.
Interesting.
Which I disagree with.
No, so it's not on the highway because on the highway, illegal parking doesn't happen. But I think in a lot of the localities, the feeder roads, so to speak, there is a lot of, and I don't know whether it's illegal is the right term, unauthorized or improper or inconsiderate. These are the terms I would go with instead of illegal, because illegal means that I could go behind bars for having parked somewhere. But if you drive around, if you talk to the people, you'll meet a lot of people who see parking as a major issue, as a major problem, as a major problem, as in parking obstructing the flow of traffic. But I think that's more on the side roads. So if you go to Shiari, Arithang, they mentioned DPH.
No, parking for me, like Burtuk I've seen because I use that road. In Burtuk recently I saw like parking really causing major problem there, because there was this narrow stretch of road where, because they have nowhere else to park, they park on the road at night. So the parking and then on that particular night there were cars parked on both sides of the road. So it caused jam. So I can understand in some places.
Yes, so at night you see a lot of crazy parking and the road reduced to a single lane. But that is also when the flow of traffic is low. We are looking at traffic congestion as a problem during peak hours when I don't think there is too much unauthorized or inconsiderate parking. Not on the places where you have the jams, at least.
Yeah, so I mean,
it is true. It is a problem. It is something that irritates people, but that is, I don't think, causing the traffic jams that is being tried to be solved here.
Yeah, I also don't. I disagree with, like I said, that illegal parking would cause jams. But at the same time, I would like to digress a little bit and go fast forward a little bit about what the Mr. Loden Lepcha said. And he was saying like illegal parking, like you have that system where when you buy a car, you're supposed to show your parking space, and when you register your car, right?
Everybody knows that's a sham.
So so he mentioned that, but he said like he's not the authority to address that problem, address that issue, which is correct, I guess. But I was thinking, why not? So if you are doing a traffic thing, why not include whichever departments are involved, right? You should be coordinating with the transport department or motor vehicle division, even if you are traffic. So that comes under
motor vehicles,
I guess, right? So that would be my suggestion to coordinate with departments involved in order to solve the issue, because that's not the police's jurisdiction, right? The parking, the documents and all that, because that is like, everybody knows, like you said, it's a sham. But how can you, I mean, you can still try to solve it, right? The problem.
No, I think it is a sham, not so much because people like to lie, but because it is so impractical. The existing rule is so impractical. Gangtok is a city of immigrants. I mean, it's a very bad term in today's politics, right? People move from the villages and other towns and settle in Gangtok. So not everybody owns a house. There are a lot of people staying on rent, but they own a vehicle. So finding a place to park, they don't even have a permanent address in Gangtok. So this becomes a very tricky one to enforce too strictly, because then you'll be denying too many people the option of owning a car.
I was not thinking of denying people their ability to own cars, but I was thinking more of, okay, then you come up with another solution. You revise that process, right? Instead of showing a parking space, then you'll have to think about making parking spaces for such people who do not have, space in their homes, or who are living on rent here. So come up with some solution is basically my point.
That is something which will also take care of the illegal parking bit. So if every locality
had a
big public parking lot, it would help everyone. The roads will be decongested immediately. The local area could raise some funding because they'll be paying, people will be paying.
So then we get into all this also, right? Like GMC, your local municipality.
If the councillors had more agency, they could consider these kind of things.
They could tax. So I was thinking, suppose you have run out of parking space. You have one parking space in your locality, right? Then someone is coming to live there on rent. Then you can, like a local government could even price it really high, that rent,
they do that.
Yeah, I think abroad they do that, right? Justifying it by saying, because you have a car and you'll, so, that is how municipalities should work. But
it's a revenue generation tool that could be explored.
And that would also help, I think, in a way to control, just rampant buying of cars. It will make you think. Nowadays, people I'm not talking just about the real estate thing, but it is also to do with pollution and environment and all of that, right? So if you think about we should try to think of, cutting down on the number of vehicles. I feel for a place like Gangtok, or levying heavy taxes, or that might not be a good idea, but doing something to discourage, not ban, but discourage.
True. You have to incentivize people not to own a car. Instead of
better public transport.
And maybe hurt their pockets a bit, which is happening now with the increased road tax or vehicle tax that they have to pay. So that is happening already. But I think getting people to pollute less. We should not get there by way of tackling congestion on the roads. That's the wrong kind of...
Anyway, I think we went off track, but the other statistic that was given was that 22% of people said that it is bad traffic rules enforcement also leading to the jams, which,
I think enforcement is fine. I'm not one who's really fond of cops, right? That's been no secret. But I really am sympathize with the traffic cops who have to be on the roads, taking in all the pollution, not just dust and smoke, but also the noise and attitudes and the heat and the rain. So they have a tough job. They have a thankless job. So they do a pretty good job, I think. I think the traffic cops are pretty good at enforcing it. I think the VIPs are the ones who break it too often, right? So when you have an organized file of lines waiting in a traffic jam, you'll invariably have some VIP who is in a rush to jump the line, and that irritates people more than actually cause too many bottlenecks. So, and then following them are also the race car driving cabbies who will follow in the wake of those vehicles. So, I think the cops are doing fine. The traffic cops
Even
are doing
I
a fine
don't think
job.
that's such a big issue. I think more than that, it is teaching drivers the right way of driving is more important.
Oh yeah, this brings us to something that you've been wanting to talk about for a long time. Yes.
My pet peeve is signaling when you're giving, signaling to indicators to other vehicles. If you are turning right, you are supposed to turn on your right indicator lights. Okay, not if you're giving a pass to the car behind you, you do not turn on the right indicator. That is very dangerous because every time in Gangtok, I am thinking, okay, what is this car trying to say? Is it turning right or is it telling me to go ahead, right? If I think it is telling me to go ahead and I try to overtake him and he's turning right, that's a car crash, right? That's an accident. So I feel like that is my pet peeve. There should be some movement happening telling drivers left is for parking. Like if you are pulling over, right? If you are parking,
or
also,
even
that's
if
the
I'm
left.
telling the person at the back to overtake me, I'll click my left indicator because I'm slowing down and getting on the side.
Exactly. So that is I have been trying. I always forget during the podcast, but I have been wanting to bring that up.
Yeah, so this is what happens when all of us. Do you realize that there was this, or like patient zero, let's say driver zero, who just decided that this is how I'm going to use the indicator, and from him he taught everybody how to drive wrong. Because it's very simple. Like when I went for my driving license, so I went the whole process, right? I went for the driving class and everything that they have in the motor vehicles division, and I think in the SP East's office. It was so simple. The cop who came in there, he said, keep one thing in mind. You cannot tell anyone else what to do. All you can do is tell everybody else what you plan to do as a driver. So just keep that in mind. So I can only tell the people behind me or in front that I am turning left, I am turning right. I cannot tell the guy that come overtake me or give me that flashing headlights. Like it's almost as if the law of physics ceased to exist if you just flash the headlight when you're coming head on. That somehow
the headlights are
like when they demand right of way, move away, I'm in a rush. So just keep that in mind. You can only tell everybody else what you plan to do, not tell other drivers what they should be doing.
That's a good rule.
Good way to remember.
Something to remember. Because I forgot to say that also. Because this signaling thing, when I am also driving, when I am signaling to the car behind me that I'm going to turn right and I turn on my right indicator, I'm scared because I don't know if he understands. He might think that I'm telling him to overtake. So I always, even though I always take my hand out and I give the hand signal like, okay, wait, I'm turning right. When I'll put on the indicator as well as use my hand.
You do realize, like, even with all the technology,
it is useless.
You still have to go physical with your hands. Like, I'm going right. I'm good. Like, take out a hand and say I'm turning left or whatever. Yes.
So we have nicely digressed into completely different zone. But coming back. Interesting statistics given during the press conference. What the SP informed us was that in from 0 point till Ranipul, there are 77 taxi stands. I didn't know that, and which means there are more than 4,200 taxis along plying this route. So taxis are the major.
They are the major traffic density on the highways. I mean, that's what their stats also found, right? 60% of the vehicles, I think. Little over, maybe. Yeah,
it's 23% private vehicles, 12% government vehicles, and I think rest are mostly taxis.
Yeah.
I mean, the big chunk of the remaining is taxis. And what was also informed is that on this route, I think in the Gangtok route, they have 25 police personnel. I think, that's what he said, including 25 traffic police personnel, including 14 police personnel on bikes moving around, trying to manage the traffic, especially during in the 8 to 12 p.m. Period, peak traffic hours.
8 a.m. to 12 p.m.
The other issue, one of the issues that was highlighted in the survey, Mr. Lepcha informed, was that the road repairs bad roads was also given as one of the bigger reasons why people thought there are traffic jams. And so he informed that road repairs are being started from October, from this month. And another statistic is that in the last 5 years, there has been an 81% hike in the number of cars in Sikkim. And in Gangtok, there are 74,000 vehicles. Registered vehicles. So it is projected that by 2029, there will be 108,000 vehicles in Gangtok. Only in Gangtok.
Gangtok district probably,
Yeah. And this test that they did in the hospital Dara, AI thing that they were doing.
They've got the AI sensors.
Yeah. So in September, they did, I think 3 days, he said they did some counting of vehicles, according to which in 24 hours, 13,700 vehicles crossed hospital Dara. Which could be, it's AI, so I was thinking it could be the same vehicle going.
No. So even then, it is using that. So it is using that. So it works out. I just did something on the calculator. I hope I counted it right. But something like 9 vehicles per minute at hospital Dara, which does not feel like a lot, except that you've got to understand that these will be packed into a much smaller time frame. And then, because this is 24 hours average, right? So for a long period, you will not have any vehicles there. But in this peak rush hour, you'll have a whole lot of vehicles moving through it.
All right. So the solutions, should we go to the solutions?
I think we should go there.
Some of the solutions that I think the traffic police are planning are that in the taxi stands along the highway, only 2 taxis will be allowed at a time to halt.
Yeah, so I think they qualified it by saying that on average, most of these taxi stops will have space for only 2 vehicles. So they'll make the box, and that's where you wait for your passengers or whatever. Of course, in some stops, there might be more vehicles that are possible. So what they are talking about is enforcement in this context. So they will be very strict about making sure that whatever is the authorized number for each taxi stop, that is what they'll have to stick to.
So I think he highlighted that the major goal of Gangtok Traffic Police would be to ensure that from Ranipul to Gangtok, it should not take more than 60 minutes.
Yeah.
The journey should not take more than 60 minutes, and that is what they will aim for.
Yeah, and it's not very ambitious, it's 14 kilometers.
It would
less, actually. It's about 11 kilometers. If there is no traffic, 30 minutes, about 25, 30 minutes, that's what it would take. But then, it's a wonderful idea. It would be so nice and they're talking about even in peak rush hour. They're not talking about on average. They're talking about even in the worst traffic condition, it should not take people more than 60 minutes to get from Ranipul to Gangtok.
He also talked about the odd-even rule that we once followed, and I think it was one of the questions in the survey where they asked do you think odd and even rule would make the traffic problem go away? And I think a lot of people said that half of the people said that odd and even would help. And Mr. Lepcha said that they are thinking about it. I think it's not for sure.
Yeah, but that is something the government will have to take a call on.
In the peak hours, only during the peak hours, 9 to 12 in the morning, and then evening 3 to 5, 6, they might try the odd even rule.
Yeah, but I'm not one for. I think the 50% who said that this will help are people who own 2 cars, one odd and one even numbered. So they are looking out for themselves to reduce the traffic on the roads.
Yeah.
Because, yes, if you reduce the number of vehicles on the road by half, traffic will be controlled. But that is like thinking that lockdown will stop the COVID from spreading, right? You ban all the vehicles, there will be no traffic jam, right? Only the VIPs can then have like just speed around, zip around. So I don't think how this helps because it is so inconvenient. You got to realize that a lot of people in the morning rush hour, contributing to the morning rush hour, are people going to reach their kids to school. Now, if I have to reach my child to school and I have a vehicle to do that, my child goes to school only on alternate days? Doesn't work. There must be many cases there would be valid reasons why I don't want other options like a bus or a taxi for them. So it just becomes very inconvenient. It takes away the whole reason you own a car. It takes that away from you, right?
So even in this odd even thing, right? I feel the problem would be solved if there was a better public transport system. I would, like, for example, I drive. So if I could get there was a good public transport system, I would be fine with the odd even thing. I'd be like, okay, tel bachega yaar, I'll travel by public transport. But the public transport
system, if there's a good public transport system,
I would not use my car.
Odd even is not required.
That is also there. But even this, I would not have so much of a problem with the odd and even rule. But especially from children, people who have children, I have heard even before when we had the odd and even rule, a lot of parents had complaints about this. Like, how do I, drop my child to school and all of that. So it's very inconvenient. And then you have that, right? Why private vehicles? Make it just for taxis, or why not just for government gadis? People have that sort of debate arguments that were happening at that time. Anyway, so that's not we both don't want odd and even rule.
I mean, it will reduce traffic, yes, but it does not serve any purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, just ban vehicles.
I know. Anyway, so what the interesting solution for me in this whole thing was the ISBT concept. ISBT is what is the full form? Interstate Bus Terminus. Yeah. So Delhi. In Delhi, it's there. So you have the ring road, the outer, circle of roads where the interstate buses, they halt there, and from there the local buses or taxis, you take that to commute. So I think the government is going to explore that, where they will stop mainline taxis at Ranipul, or buses and taxis, mainline taxis in these peripheral areas of the city, and from there on you'll have to use taxis, local taxis. So that sounds like a good idea.
It is. It is a good idea. It's, but it's. I don't see.
But then that's just taxis.
Yeah, it is just taxis. It is. So it's not long term enough. And I'll give you an example. So when they put the North Sikkim vehicles at Vajra, at that time Vajra was considered a suburb, right? The outskirts of Gangtok, which it is not anymore.
Yeah.
Now it is almost a heart of Gangtok, almost, right? Yeah. Vajra, and you've seen what happens there. The vehicles going in and out of that traffic, of that parking lot, are causing a lot of jams, bottlenecks in that whole area. When they made the Deorali stand below Deorali, the car park for mainline taxis, they used to come right up to West Point at one time, right? If you remember, the buses and jeeps used to come right up to West Point.
Okay.
Yes, and then they said,
West
we
Point,
need to decongest the heart of Gangtok, so we'll take them out. And Deorali was considered, oh my God, that's really far. And people were complaining about, I'll have to take a cab from Deorali, and now that's the heart. So Ranipul, I don't know, in another 10 years, it'll probably not be that far out, right? And then you'll take them to what? Rangpo? And so you need... this will be interesting to explore. This will be interesting to explore. There are a lot of... See, the moment you come up with a fixed rule, you got to also look at all the complications that arise. It is like, if I'm coming from outside with a lot of luggage and a big family, I will end up spending more in my taxi from, let's say, Ranipul to my home wherever in Gangtok, then I would probably have spent on the taxi, on the plane fare from Delhi to Bagdogra.
Yeah.
Right?
It's already happening.
Those are like also things that people, I mean, of course, I could always get my own vehicle to come and pick me up, and those are different considerations altogether. But yeah, some more
thinking.
Yeah.
And the other, which I do not really, think much of, is the body cam thing. Because one of the complaints I think that they got in the survey was that a lot of the traffic police personnel do not speak politely, or, they're just rude. So they said to tackle that problem, they are going to give body cams, or they have already given 12 body cams to the traffic
These are the
police.
12 most ill-mannered cops who are getting it. I don't know. I don't know how they pick the 12 people who will be wearing body cams. These are the 12 people against whom the most complaints have come.
So they have already been given, and this is in the hopes that what my argument is, another 1 mahina, 2 mahina mein that body cam is going to get spoiled. Okay. And that's done. That's gone. Okay. That is my thinking. And also the other thing that's not really a big problem. All police personnel are rude, so you give it to all of them. Why just traffic police?
Because, okay, I mean, I agree. But just to kind of play the devil's advocate here, traffic cops are the ones who have the most interaction with people on a minute-to-minute basis, which is also why there are so many complaints against them. Most of the other cops, like the beat cops or the Thana cops, we don't interact with them, right? We cross them, they'll probably say hello, hi, whatever, it's fine. But traffic cops are there all the time, right? You're moving in a taxi, you are in your own car, bike, walking, they are there, blowing their whistles, shouting at people, controlling traffic. So there are a lot of complaints against them. So I don't think it is inherently that they are more rude. It is that they have more interaction with the public, so people have more complaints against them. Which are very
It's the same for police personnel also. Police personnel also same, because they interact with, they have to talk. That's what we hear, right? They interact with criminals. They interact with...
Sikkim cops interact more with VIPs. So be very careful about what you're going to say next. So their language is so foul because they are always attending to VIPs. Is that what you're trying to say?
So, yeah, you could read it that way also. But, so that's the excuse it's given, right? They are they have to interact with, so that's why they are like that.
So, anyway. Body cam, I like the idea because I think that is such a...
You just want a body cam for yourself.
No. Let me finish this. Why Sikkim should be so excited about the body cam is because they went with body cams in the US. They went with cameras, CCTVs in UP and Bihar because of all the criminal activity that the cops were themselves involved in, the violence. Whereas in Sikkim, we are doing it out of decorum. We want the cops to behave better. It's not like they're beating up people, but they're just not talking politely enough, which in any other state of India is not even an issue. Right? So that is a nice thing. Will it help? I'm sure it will help. Provided that these body cams, the moment you put it on, the feed goes into a cloud straight away. It is not like I take out a chip from it and then check how, because that can be easily tampered with, right?
Yeah.
It could get spoiled or whatever. It'll be so wonderful if the person wearing it has no control over deleting or spoiling the camera, right? Once it's on and it's going up. In today's time, it's pointless because everybody has a camera and they're shooting it anyways. You don't need a body cam to expose these things. We've seen that happen. But I remember at one time, you're not that young. So you remember the time when Sikkim cops used to wear the blue uniform? The Sikkim police had this blue...
Traffic police or the Sikkim police?
The regular Sikkim police had that sky blue, navy blue uniforms, which were wonderful until the security companies came up and everybody started wearing those kind of uniforms, right? But there was actually a demand that they wanted to be given khaki. All of Sikkim police wanted to wear khaki because they thought that this uniform, when they traveled out of the state, people mistook them for security guards. And the DGP was Handa at that time. The famous Handa from the Andolan days in Darjeeling. He was the DGP of Sikkim. He was very fond of that blue uniform. And he was trying to convince his subordinates that let's keep this, it's such a nice thing to have or whatever. So he started wearing that uniform himself on the 2 days that they wear the uniform, right? So he started wearing it. So it'll be so wonderful if the body cam, the first people to wear it were the senior officers.
Oh, acha, like
and
that.
it's on them throughout their working hours, and we know. So
yeah, that way then you put body cams on everyone. Yeah,
no, body cams are required for people on the field.
One major candidate group of people, they'll kill me, all right. But there was this recent accusation also. I mean, we keep hearing nurses are very rude, supposedly, right? Allegedly. So they should be given body cams also.
You can't. I mean, go one step further and you can't, right? You're like, you can't be having patients on camera. So it's not a public space.
But yeah.
I mean, they have CCTVs. Nice they have CCTVs in public spaces. So that's, yeah.
Anyways, we just went on.
We are still on the traffic survey.
No, I think we are done now. I think we should move on to.
One interesting thing that he closed off with was they were in talks to get an NGO that specializes in traffic management to come and study and work on real solutions, which I think should be done. I mean, traffic police, traffic cops, their job is to enforce whatever rules are brought in. They are not trained to understand traffic they know traffic management, but they don't know traffic management policy. So for that, you need to get in experts, and it's a nice idea to get people who know how to manage traffic.
If done sincerely, again, if you chose the right NGO, would be good.
Yeah, a Google search.
I don't think that's how it works.
They'll have to get someone from with some experience, I hope.
No, I'm saying you'll have.
But the previous experience has not been great.
That's also shady stuff, right? You will get people, someone's Banji's husband running an NGO somewhere, or they'll open a new NGO based in Siliguri, and then they'll have that. Anyways. Okay. I am forever the cynic, sorry. And now, another good news, this is what we should have opened with, is the hike in Dearness allowance for government employees.
Yeah, it's a
pensioners.
9% hike.
Yeah, but फिर भी hike तो है ना?
Yeah.
So
it's like the psycho. What is it called?
Bonus.
No, not bonus. I mean the
खर्चा. मिठाई.
What do your elders give you?
I don't know what
anyways, it's like it's a gift.
Huh? Ashirwad.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, since government servants and so many of them like behaving like children when it comes to politicians, Ashirwad, is the Seco Ashirwad.
The Seco Ashirwad from 230% to 239%. It has been hiked, and it will be effective from 1st Jan 2024. So it's not the Seco hike.
It is.
Sorry. 2024.
It is. It's with retrospective effect. They'll get the areas and things like that.
So the revised DA rates will also apply to contract-based employees and those working in work-charged establishments, provided they are on regular pay scales of the state government.
Yes. So work-charged. So it's like this. They are not on lump sum. They're not on lump sum. They're not your 12,000, 7,000, 9,000.
Okay.
So technically, when you're hired on work charge, your service is not regular, right? Your service is not permanent, but your salary is matching whatever that post regular government employee gets. I don't think there are too many. So it's like just a sentence.
So this is, I think we should, that's it.
That's it. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, happy Dasai.
And moving on to Power Department to take action on delays in bill payments. The Power Department Advisor Sanjit Kharel in a meeting recently directed the department to closely monitor private companies and recover outstanding dues. Okay. So he said that strict action should be taken against those who delay or fail to pay the electricity bills. And specifically, the meeting decided that if ministers, legislators, and high-ranking officials do not pay their bills on time, their electricity will be directly cut off.
What is directly cut off? Like, I'd like to see what is indirect cutting off.
Sir, please, sir, will not happen.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like them to try. I don't think it's happening. I think from everybody whose electricity gets cut off, we'll know who's in favor and who's fallen out of favor, because this is not happening to people who still enjoy some leverage with the government.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. Like you should clear your dues.
I know, like last time we were someone like lakhs in lakhs, no? You were only saying the government departments only might not have paid.
Yeah, I mean, I might have said that off the record because if I have to say it on the record, I don't have the evidence.
Might.
But I remember the time when people still had landlines. Government departments, do they still have landlines? They probably do. So the biggest defaulters were government departments because we know this. We were in the newspaper business, right? And all the people who were selling our newspapers and they had fixed offices that picked up the newspapers. They were always in arrear, like they were always running behind on payments because the bills take time to clear.
Yeah.
Which was the same thing that was happening with telecom bills, telephone bills.
It is the same with STCS also. Like stationery. I remember, I know this. That's why.
So STCS does not receive payments in time.
Yeah, so it had stopped giving anything to the departments. So there were no pencils, no pens in one department.
Okay.
You had to buy it like from you couldn't get it from STCS because STCS.
You could not requisition it.
Requisition it because STCS is like, Pala, please, clear your bill. We are not giving anything.
So, so I think ministers and MLAs are just being, so I think VIP colony, that line is probably meant for because those bills will not be cleared by the individual. They will be cleared by the department or home or whatever is responsible for it, right? So those bills take forever to clear. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Like one pocket of the government will be paying the other pocket. So it will still be short on money.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Controlling my laughter. I was like really, Mr. Loven was also cackling away. So.
Instigating you to laugh.
But on a more serious note.
Not on a serious note.
Okay,
we failed so hugely last time when we opened with how hot it has become and how sweltering, like September is the hottest month. That was last Wednesday. And while we were recording that, you remember on a Tuesday when we were recording, or was it on a Wednesday? Whatever. While we were recording it, the lights went off because there was a thunderstorm outside. And immediately after we recorded this whole spiel about how hot and climate change and global warming, we had this run of about 4 days of extremely heavy rainfall all over the region, which is, I think, from what I saw on your computer screen, what you're getting into next.
Yes, that is because of Mr. Pema. So we got heavy downpours, like continuous rain for, I think, 3 days.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of damage across the state. We just have a list of, small.
So it's across the state, yes. Thankfully for Sikkim, I mean, like, we can't just go into specifics on every landslide. But thankfully for Sikkim, they were not huge landslides causing, I mean, yes, some homes were affected, they were destroyed, but lives were not lost. And nothing major happened apart from some village roads that have been blocked. What I noticed was that in Darjeeling and Kalimpong, and we keep forgetting that the weather does not really change much beyond Rangpo, right? It's the same geographical area. But this time in Darjeeling and Kalimpong, they had slips. I mean, landslide is a huge term. They had a lot of slips within the town area. So Darjeeling saw a lot of those.
Yeah.
And Kalimpong also for the first time saw some of those, which should be worrying. Because...
Do you think it's related to the GLOF last year's flood? It's not really.
No, the highway. What's happened on the highway is related to the GLOF.
But you cannot really...
Up there on the towns, it's more to do with, I think, what you had brought up last time, I think, about the stability maps and how there's so many constructions happening that the stability of slopes has been completely changed, which can be the only thing that explains the landslides in the heart of Darjeeling. Because I was looking at some photographs and next to every landslip, there is a new construction. Right? So it is possible that these are the ones that are kind of destabilizing the slopes.
I was thinking of bringing up this point. Like when you talk about all of these land stability mapping, and when you talk about landslides, when you talk about we are going to talk about the flood also.
Yeah.
Like you also know, we see so many places where in this is the time when the flood happened, right?
Yeah.
Today also I saw excavations are happening. That's not supposed to happen. There's an advisory from the government that you should not have excavations during this time, during the monsoon season.
Yeah.
But we see that
which
happening
they extended
everywhere.
also, yeah.
Which they've extended.
The monsoon is not officially
duration
out
of the
yet.
advisory. Yeah.
Interestingly.
Yeah. So how I mean, like you said, it's an advisory. You cannot. It's not a. It does not hold any.
Yeah, I think it's insensitivity and it's disinterest. It is like just on 18 September, which is the anniversary of the earthquake, is when Sikkim has this huge thing of disaster management. Like the DCs were holding meetings everywhere discussing mitigation planning, mock drills and all that tamashebazi. Whereas all around town, and I'm talking about Gangtok here, but I'm sure that's the case in Namchi, that's the case in Gazing and everywhere else, where like construction material is just dumped on the road
everywhere.
At night.
Yeah.
If it rains, it just runs all over the road and into your drains, blocks everything, causes a nuisance. But more than the nuisance, it is the risk that they carry, and there is no one
doing anything about it. Yeah, that's like I was like amazed today. I just happened to see that such a site, construction site, where like the JCB was nicely excavating. So I was like, this is not the time to do such stuff.
There are a lot of things in which we need some people with some basic intelligence and training to come in. I don't know whether I think there should be some special permission. Again, the permissions are a problem because they can be so easily kind of gone around, and but I have heard from contractors, so I don't know this. I've heard it from contractors and I've heard it from geologists who said that using an excavator on a slope is not always the best idea because you're removing so much mud in one go that it shocks the slope and that can destabilize things. Whereas when you're doing it by hand, it takes time. More people get employed for a longer time, but it also goes about it in a slower manner. And if you look around, a lot of places in Gangtok where major disruptions were caused on the highway at Sisagulai some years back, on the bypass, on the road to the DC office. These were construction sites in which JCBs were used, and they just almost brought everything down along with them.
Yeah, so that's
and that is not, I would say that's not even a monsoon thing. That any time of the year, there should be a way in which you do it.
Yeah.
Like get some experts to tell you like what is the speed prescribed, whatever.
Yeah, how many days it should take.
Yeah.
Instead of just...
Yeah, and how you do it. I mean, the guy managing the excavator is not a scientist. He doesn't know, he doesn't understand the slope and what is this easy or proper way to do it. They'll just go bang, bang, bang.
There was this video that, I think a lot of people saw, right? Of this lady in Manbir colony who was complaining about someone digging up this slope overnight, and she was
triggering a slide.
It was not really a slide, I feel, or maybe there was a minor
slip on a footpath.
It is bothering people, and they are aware of the risks involved. But yeah, so moving on.
Yes.
We will talk about this special meeting chaired by the Chief Minister, where land acquisition issues in the state were discussed by these BRO, NHIDCL, which is the National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation. Then you have the Power Grid Corporation of India. So I don't know, there in this news press release, there are not many details of where and what land and all of that. But they did have a meeting discussing how these disputes can be solved. There are a lot of disputes regarding land acquisition by these big organizations. So those were discussed in efforts to solve the problems and
In
streamline.
the interest of national security, national interest, development. Yeah, I mean, these are all agencies that acquire a lot of land. Some of them don't acquire land in the amount that they should, given the damage that they cause. And that is one of the reasons why there's so much trouble always. Like Power Grid and its monstrous towers.
They've popped up everywhere.
Yeah, and it is, people really don't have much say in it. Like you can resist it for a while, but then they can just invoke the special powers, and they can take it, right? The same goes for the highways, BRO and things like that. They just want to be able to do that quicker. So,
anyways,
I don't know. I didn't know Power Grid still has more land to acquire. They don't have idle projects anymore to carry electricity. I mean, I was just thinking, at least on the Teesta, none of the idle projects are generating anything. So why would you need to acquire land anywhere on the Gangtok slopes? Because there is no power to carry in the very near future, at least.
Anyway, moving on, the Chief Minister also chaired a high-level meeting with the BRO. I think this was regarding strengthening infrastructure and enhancing collaboration between the BRO and the state government.
Yeah.
And the key focus area was identifying immediate and long-term solutions for vulnerable and landslide-prone regions, particularly in North Sikkim. They are going to conduct, it was decided that they'll conduct inspections and assess and develop a concrete action plan.
Yeah, these guys are hilarious. I think this is just a face saver because suddenly they realized that it's about to be 1 year that North Sikkim has been effectively cut off. It has not, like, when I say effectively cut off is yes, off and on, and if you're really desperate, you can make it there. But it has not had any tourism. Yeah. Tourists are not allowed there still. It's been more than a year actually, because I think just before the GLOF as well, there were periods of this. Of course, at the time of the GLOF, there were tourists up there. So I think it's more a face saver because to show people that, oh, we know there is a problem and we are trying to address it. Otherwise, it will be the first anniversary of the flood and people will turn around and say, you've not even had a meeting to discuss how to solve this thing. So it's, I think, basically that, because they ended up talking nothing of value. Because if you could not repair the roads in 1 year, I don't see how your long-term plans are going to be of any great help or any way effective. So yeah, we'll probably discuss that in a later section as well. But I think it's more a face saver than anything else. Yeah. And this thing about this national highway development thing, I find it very rich that Sikkim has been making so much noise about giving the Rangpo to Sevok stretch to NHIDCL, whatever its full form is, right? To those guys, when all your district magistrates in Pakyong at least, and Soreng maybe, I don't know, Gazing, they are constantly reprimanding this National Highway Authority for doing such a poor job of its road cutting, which is causing landslides, imperiling villages, blocking roads. They've not been doing a very great job of highway development in Sikkim to really deserve to be given the stretch from. Not that West Bengal is doing anything great either.
But it is, that's where politics comes in.
I'm guessing.
So, we'll not go there.
Yeah.
We will go to Jagadguru Shankaracharya. If you remember, we spoke
about... State guest, he was in Sikkim.
We spoke about it last episode. I think not in the last episode, before that. The beef ban talk where we had in this episode.
Yeah, he's going around proselytizing the beef eaters to stop eating
beef. So, if you remember, so Arunachal apparently did not even let Mr. Jagadguru land.
No, he landed.
He landed, but he could not. From the airport, he flew back.
And that's a BJP state.
Arunachal, that happened. And in Sikkim, he was...
Nagaland, he was not allowed to even land. He just was told, not welcome. Don't even come.
But it's Sikkim is so welcoming. So he was welcomed. He stayed for 2 days, I think, at 24th
as a state
September.
guest.
And he's in the Gau Dhwaj Sthapna Bharat Yatra. He was received by Mr. Gopal Pathak, Assistant Protocol Officer, Home Department. And so we just wanted to mention that he was here.
And he did his business. So he's being very poorly informed. Now, if his mission is to save the cow, right? And go for a ban on cow slaughter, then he was wasting his time in Sikkim. Because Sikkim already has a law that bans cow slaughter. And here I'd also like to qualify, because I noticed some comments last time in this discussion. So Sikkim has a ban on cow slaughter, not beef eating. They are two different things, right? And it's an old law. It was there in the king's time, and it was again renewed to a government back in Sikkim. So he was here. Someone should have told him that you're wasting your time because Sikkim has already banned cow slaughter. Now, unless he wants cops to be delegated to visit people's kitchens and test whether I'm eating a goru or a guy, I don't know how they're going to do that, the meat on my table. I don't know what he was planning to do here. It is actually very offensive.
But
his whole focus on the Northeast it's targeted because Northeast is seen as beef eaters. But it is wrong to paint everybody as a cow killer. They are two completely different things. Like Sikkim does not officially allow cow slaughter.
But I think you are mistaken. It's not Nagaland. I think it must be Shio, Meghalaya.
No. So Nagaland, he could not even go to.
Oh, okay.
He could not visit. I mean, like even in his thing, the government, I think, sent him word ki, sorry, you're not welcome here. Arunachal, he landed, but he could not leave the airport because the district authority said it's too touchy an issue.
All right.
And you have to, I mean, like, I think people should appreciate that all the protest against this move is not because the beef eaters want to kill cows, right? It is because they are offended by the idea of someone who has no understanding of their culture or their realities or their association with their environment to come and just preach without having first understood the people. So that is what is I think that is what is offending the people more.
And if it was, some other community, it would have been like a major issue. I'm thinking, like, if it was not someone like Jagadguru, if it was
someone who came to ban pork,
it would be, oh my God.
Yeah, the government would lathi charge the people making that demand, I'm sure.
Also, I find it, this interesting incident had happened where a man accused Sikkim police officer, a woman officer at Rangpo checkpost of strip searching. Did he use the word strip searching?
He might have, because that had become a talking point. I think it was not accurate depiction. He was searched. He was felt.
I think so. This guy was coming from Siliguri, wherever he was coming to Gangtok.
Coming from the Monsong, that Algar.
Oh, okay. He was coming from that.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He was not treated well at the checkpost.
He was stopped and he had a bag of manure, and they thought it was drugs. Supposedly,
they could have smelled it.
Supposedly,
and that's it would be so nice if that cop actually tasted it. Oh, this tastes like.
I know. And he was searched, and he was really angry, and he posted a video of online saying, recounting this entire incident, like how without any reason I was searched, I was humiliated. This was such a bad experience, and the police explained itself also a few days later, or a day later, or even the same day. I don't remember, but they said that we got information from sources that a person in the exact same kind of car that this guy was coming in.
You're a bad reporter.
Scooty
He was on a scooty, yeah.
Okay, my apologies. So, was coming with contraband substances, and that's why we searched. And the kind of like this funny kind of joke around this whole thing has become that the guy, even in the video, he says that he spoke in English to that officer, and immediately after he started speaking in English, she just flew off the handle and started treating him badly. So the joke is that do not speak in English to Rangpo checkpost police.
Yeah.
That is the lesson of the whole incident.
Yeah. Okay. Try that.
Okay.
Try that. But I will admit to something. Throughout my college days, in all the run-ins with the cops, I managed to get away only because when I get nervous, I speak in English. And the moment you speak in English to Punjab police, I think in my time, when I was in college, they thought that only the VIPs and the elite know English. So the moment I speak in English, they think, okay, his father is probably someone big. And because of the way I look, they'll probably think it's some IS officer or whatever, right?
Why?
Chinky guys, what will they be doing in Chandigarh otherwise? So I got away many times by speaking in English. Probably it appears not the best thing to do at Rangpo checkpost. Yeah, so I'll be mindful of that. I'll just pretend to be dumb.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to the defense, let me just say this, the defense that they came up with is being seen as Sikkim police in out season 2. Right? It is as embarrassing as the earlier defense of something really indefensible that the cops did during COVID, which was the in out episode. This was that. Yeah. It was so unconvincing.
Yeah, and I forgot. I was going to tease you. I was going to say, you have to say, Tapai ko naam ke ho. Aise you'll have to speak in Nepali there. Okay.
Yeah. With an accent.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, moving
on. Which will probably trigger people even more. That kosto khalke local, like you can't even speak.
Okay. We are heading towards the end, but before we get to a heavy topic, one nice topic. Today I'm really making Mr. Lovin laugh, and I am also I don't know, something has happened. So today one interesting news. If any of you want to don't have internet at home, you can go to Rabdang village in where is that? Khamdong Singtam constituency, which has become the first free Wi-Fi village of the state. Okay.
I hope they've got the English right.
Okay.
I hope it is not the first Wi-Fi free village of Sikkim. The one village in Sikkim where there is no Wi-Fi.
Okay, so yeah. Free Wi-Fi initiative is expected to bring significant improvements in education, business, communication, whatever.
What I said about Wi-Fi free could also deliver all of this. If you don't have the distractions of internet, you will study better, you will work better.
So free Wi-Fi.
But yeah, congrats, Rabdang.
And now moving on to...
What's the speed? I mean, they should tell us what speed the Wi-Fi functions at there. But anyways.
Nothing like that is mentioned. So right now what's happening is the highway is...
open again.
Really?
Yes. For light vehicles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the really brave people whom in my generation they used to be called thrill seekers.
Can go ahead.
Yeah.
So traffic movement was restored for light vehicles and passenger vehicles, including minibuses. So how is that? Anyways, light.
A minibus is a big Peugeot.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m. From today. What is
today?
1st October. Sorry, 1st October. And what I found funny was that a road update of 30th September, that was yesterday, saying that as per information received from Kalimpong, National Highway 10 is closed for maintenance, and alternate routes via Monsong, Laba and Gurbatang. This route is disturbed due to the T-Board Mazdoor Morcha strike.
Oh, yesterday they had a 12-hour strike, yes. Darjeeling Hill roads.
So via Teesta and Jorbangla, this route is also disturbed.
Yeah, because there are tea gardens there as well.
Via Jorthang to Darjeeling is learned to have been disturbed at Takda Tea Estate due to strike.
Yeah.
So yesterday...
It was a 12-hour strike, so you could move in the evening.
No, so I just found it funny that you are saying, okay, these are the alternate routes, but they are all disturbed.
Sure. But not because I can't maintain them.
It's another reason, but something or the other. So that is a road update, and the light vehicles, the notice that it's allowed for light vehicles also mentions that these are the disruptions at Mamkhola, at 28th Mile, at Selfie Dara. Oh my God, where is that?
I don't know.
And Kalitola.
I come from a generation when there was a place on the highway known as Baghdad.
Baghdad?
Yeah, because you could buy bootleg petrol there. All the stolen petrol and
diesel. Is this in Punjab?
No, it's on the national highway to Siliguri.
Oh, okay. There's that, I was seeing this update about Birik Dara, no? So I always wondered whether it is Birik Dara or whether it is Break Dara. Because
it is Break.
It's Break, no? Yeah. But it's become Birik now.
Yeah.
Okay. And why we were...
That's where your brakes fail. Yeah. Not really. But anyways, carry on.
So talking about the highways, it is also, where we segue into it's a very bad segue, but the Glacial Lake Outburst Flood Anniversary is on 3rd October.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th.
Day after, yeah. So a year has gone by and we haven't heard or seen much about mitigation measures. Just recently, we also talked about the expedition to
study the glacial lakes,
to study the glacial lakes and to see if any of the other lakes are at risk of an outburst-like situation. So that's the recent. So it's like the end of the year. Suddenly there are a lot of things happening, right?
Yeah, I suspect it is really that they don't want to be caught on the first anniversary not having addressed it afresh because nothing has really changed on ground. I mean, the highway has been consistently disrupted for the last 1 year. It has completely ruined tourism. Forget about the inflationary prices in the markets. Supplies, constructions, everything has become more expensive. People traveling out has become more expensive, inconvenient, time consuming, and nothing beyond like getting an excavator and clearing the road. Like North Sikkim is still cut off. Like Jonggu has still only got one bridge servicing it. And Jonggu has been suffering since the time when Shok Bhir collapsed about 6 years, 7 years? I don't know how long it has been that when the Mantam Lake was formed, right? Since then they've been, not all of Jonggu has been reconnected. And it keeps getting worse for them. North Sikkim, Mangan, okay, off and on. It is now you can reach Mangan quite reliably. But beyond that, I'm thinking of the hotels in Lachen and Lachung, people who had invested in the hospitality sector for the last 1 year, no business. I mean, it's like...
Also, I wanted to point out this news report that recently came out in the Telegraph, which quotes a soil scientist talking about how the highway the fate of the NH10. It looks like it's sealed. Like we probably cannot ever do anything about it because of the dams. And because of how...
I think not just because of the dams. Yes, because of the dams. Also because of the railway project. Which has destabilized the slopes and the roads.
It talked about it also talked about the depth of the river because of the dams, it has, the reservoirs, and how this has destabilized the slopes, right? And that's why we have these. And the other day I was seeing that Kalichora near what is that? Gail Khola, no? That I was showing you also. This entire road is the river has taken over.
Yeah, it's like the Teesta Bazaar stretch.
And you think about it, and you're like, how can that how can that be? How can we not do something about it? How can we just wait for the rains to subside and then the river to go back and then go on till the next year, and then again it's the same thing is going to happen.
Yeah, this was within a few days, actually, let's say at the most a week of the Teesta flood. We had discussed it on. This wasn't there. This platform wasn't there, but we had discussed it on other platforms of how the siltation has raised the riverbed about 16, 17 feet, which is why with the briefest of rainfalls, the low-lying areas were getting inundated, and that creates trouble. What you were talking about, Gail Khola, and the reservoir for the Teesta low dam there is something that Dikchu has been seeing for the last 20 years. It's called toe erosion, right? You have the reservoir that has its own, that volume of water has its own pressure, has its own weight, which is sitting on the valley floor, that is messing up the entire kind of rock features under it. And then because the reservoir goes down and up, every time the water goes down, it scratches away at the sides, and then it goes up again, and it soaks in, and then it scratches away. And that is like, I can tell you that. You don't need an expert to know that. Yeah. But there were no people, officers, because in the end it has to be the officers who keep an eye out on these things, and the project developers who have to be mindful of these things. And not just dams. I think it's going to be, it's like how a lot of the Teesta hydel projects, right? On the hydel projects on the Teesta stage 4, for instance, was at one time being justified on the grounds that if there is a GLOF up there and let's say stage 3 bursts, you'll need one more buffer, right? Or there's so much silt on the river that you need one more dam to trap the silt. The Mantam lake might burst and you need a stage 4 dam, which might... That's such a weird argument for a project, right? So it's coming down to the railway project also now. Your highway is gone, right? I don't know how reliable this highway is going to be going forward, NH10. So they're going to say, that's why we have the train.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it's the tunneling work that had first ruined the entire slope. So, and the jury is still out there on whether even the train is going to be very reliably open. We've seen with all the mega projects, right?
Yeah.
The airport's gone. Like the big helicopter is also a pointless thing for Gangtok. I don't know, the railway.
No, even the rail, even if it comes up and if it starts plying, when it starts plying, the vibrations and the things that it will cause.
Yeah.
I don't know how that.
Because if you look at the highway right now, like when the highway was slightly better a year back, all the patches where the highway was in a bad condition was where they were making these added tunnels into the railway tunnel work, right? So wherever that project to go serve the main tunnel was going on, that is where the highway was in its worst condition. Near Malli, both sides of Malli, if you remember, right? So that is where tunnels were going into, connecting tunnels into this whole thing. So yeah, it's like, and nothing, like no one's paying attention.
All right. Should we end on that sad note? Despondent note?
I don't know. These are lessons. I think people should not take it as a negative. The Teesta flood anniversary is coming up, and I hope that's the day when people spend some time to think about what people living along the river suffered, and the areas that we don't talk about enough about, like Naga, like the people who lost homes and lives in Singtam, and even in Rangpo and further down at Teesta Bazaar on the West Bengal side. So think about them, not to sympathize or say bichara, but to see if policy can be improved.
And drive that will to or push people or your leaders to do something about it.
Yes.
And on that note, thank you very much.
Until next week.
Like and subscribe.
Comment.
And comment.
Thank you.
Bye.